Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Tim Goff here. Welcome to the My Ground Force webinar series where we're focused on how to improve your profitability and your return on your investment. This week, we're going to be talking with Motive. We're going to have Christina Treadway on to talk about Motive and the advantages that MV+AI bring to you as a contractor, and maybe help you understand what MV+AI means, and then how the Motive version of MV+AI offers huge value in the contractor space. So we're going to start in about 4 minutes. Let's give everybody a chance to join. In the meantime, we're going to drop a poll question out there. I know I saw several of you last week, so let's see what the polls look like for who may have attended the FedEx Ford Summit last week. Always enjoy those types of events because it's always good to meet folks in person that I have otherwise only met by video chat. So I'm still old school enough that I like to know the real person behind the camera. Fortunately, all you guys look the same in real life, so that's a positive. Well, maybe with the exception of Nathan Watts. Other than that, a couple more minutes here. Let's take a look at this poll question. Pretty good. Published the result. You guys can see that. FedEx limited attendance. They sold the whole thing out. 1,100 contract service providers, as I understand. I will say they put on a good show. They did a great job. The food was good. That's always important. There were a lot of great options there for contractors to learn, and in particular to talk to the right people at FedEx without having to work your way through some sort of phone system. That was always good. They had 25, I'll call them pro desks, shall we say. Internal process folks from FedEx were there. If you haven't been to one of these in the past, that alone is reason to go. You get a chance to look the fuel tax guy and the monthly maintenance report person and the tractor files guy right in the eyeball. It's extremely advantaged. Then, of course, you get to meet great vendors like Motive and My Ground Force. We were there, of course, together. We're going to give it one more minute, and then we're going to kick this show off. See, Stephen Booker has joined. Steve, please give me a call. We need to catch up with you somehow. I don't have your phone number. I'm going to post it in the Q&A so that you can reach me. It was great to meet you in person last week. Okay. Again, thanks to everyone for attending. We really appreciate you attending these webinar series. Again, this fall, we're focusing on something near and dear to contractor hearts, how to improve your ROI, which is another way of saying how to improve your profitability. The first week, we talked about the contract. And as you know, I've been screaming from the mountaintop. The most important thing you can do as a contractor is understand what's in the contract. That is your only leverage in conversations with FedEx. The smarter you are on the contract, the more powerful you are in your conversations with FedEx, as well as your understanding of what they expect of you. Last week, we were at the summit, but the week before that, we had a conversation with Matt Woodruff. And Matt, as you know, is one of the leading analysts on Wall Street, and he covers FedEx, UPS, and some other transportation companies. He's an expert on FedEx. And he talked to us about the FedEx annual earnings from their FY24 report in June. And then he talked to us about their most recent quarterly release on September 19th. I mean, that was a really good conversation. And I think it was really important to understand, hey, what is the ocean that FedEx is swimming in, and what are they creating in terms of the ecosystem that you're swimming in? And then how can you best navigate the challenges in that world? And just to summarize, it's going to continue to be flat in the FedEx marketplace, the FedEx ecosystem, until the second half of calendar year 2025. This peak will be a bump in my projection. And so it's really important that you focus internally on all these key processes on how you can maximize your compliance. As we know in the new contract, compliance has become a much bigger deal. It's always been a big deal. They're focusing harder on it. They've also increased the indemnity for rear end collisions. We talked about that. If you got any questions on it, please reach out to me. And then if you're going to be profitable in this business, you have to control what you can control, and those are your internal costs. Step one in that, we've gone through the contract and we understand the ocean we're in. Today, we're going to talk about the new requirement that FedEx threw out there on October 1st that all of you guys have been scrambling to get implemented in your businesses is MV+AI. And we have an expert on from Motive, Christina Treadway. Welcome, Christina, to the My Ground Force Fall webinar series.
Thanks, Tim, for having me. Really excited to be here today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Hey, if you were in Orlando last week, you got a chance to meet Christina in person. That was one busy booth at Motive. We were right next to them, so that was really good for us as well. We're very excited to welcome Christina today. What we're going to talk about today, well, Christina's going to talk about, and I'll chime in. She's going to first explain to you, hey, what is MV+AI? Because, FedEx didn't explain that to us. So she'll give us what that means in the FedEx marketplace. Then she'll talk about the relationship with My Ground Force and Motive, and she'll talk to you about a case study on how Motive's MV+AI has greatly impacted in a positive manner a very large contractor during the beta assessment. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Christina, and we're going to drive the slides for her. But welcome again, Christina. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Oh, thanks so much, Tim. So really excited to be here, like I said, and Motive is incredibly proud to be a qualified vendor for the FedEx Vetter program. So we can get into what that looks like, but you guys are all running that right now. Also excited to be prepared for ELD compliance coming March of 2025. We'll definitely talk a little bit more about that as that rolls out a little bit further. But our partnership with My Ground Force is going to allow contractors to access a fully integrated platform. It's going to combine our AI dash camera, so Motive AI dash cam technology, which we'll talk about what MV+AI is for this particular opportunity, but then how that actually works in our cameras themselves. And then, of course, combining that with My Ground Force Advanced Business Insights, that integration is going to ensure that fleet managers are going to monitor safety and operational efficiency in real time on the ground, and then also numbers in the sky is what I like to say. So folks being able to see the insights that My Ground Force brings to you from the insights that Motive pushes over into that one. So you can help optimize those decisions and make those decisions where you need to. Head over to the next slide. Fantastic. All right, so the fleet management challenge. What is this challenge? So we're always kind of looking at different challenges that we have to see in this industry, operational inefficiencies that come with different types of siloed systems. For example, getting data from different areas, not collecting enough data to actually see what you need to in this particular opportunity. The compliance and safety regulations, they're always changing, but they're always there and always on top of you, trying to make sure that you're doing what you need to be doing. There's a lot to handle as a fleet manager or somebody who's owning an operation to understand the compliances and the regulations that come into that. Fuel maintenance and costs is always something that we're watching. I mean, if you're on this webinar now, you're talking to Tim about that fuel surcharges and all of the different fuel costs that you have to really keep an eye on there. So having that driver performance and retention, when you have safe drivers that feel like they are warranted to be there because you care about their safety, they're also going to drive that profitability for you on that side. And then real-time decision making. So I kind of covered that a moment ago. Just having the ability to not only have the AI technology, which is going to give you real-time information, pushed into a My Ground Force system that allows you to really see the entire operation holistically. And that's really where the power comes in with the fleet management challenge and where My Ground Force and Motive makes sense to partner together. We can talk a little bit more about what AI is on the next slide, I believe. Yep. All right. So the role of AI. So it's transforming fleet management. So AI is everywhere these days. It's not just in fleet management, but it is definitely tackling fleet management, and definitely in key areas like safety, compliance, maintenance, operational efficiencies. The better approved dash cam is going to be is the AI powered solution, that don't just monitor, but they actively prevent incidents by sending drivers in-cab alerts. So let's talk about what machine vision and AI is. Just so when I'm saying things like that, it actually makes a little bit more sense, since it sounds like you guys were not explained what they were. So let's take a step back and talk about what machine vision is. So when I talk about machine vision and AI in the context of fleet management, we're really referring to how these technologies work together to enhance safety and efficiency on the road. So machine learning refers to the system's ability to visually interpret and analyze what's happening on the road in real time. In Motive's case, our AI-powered dash cameras use machine vision to detect key behaviors like distracted driving, speeding, seatbelt violations. The camera AI processes this visual data to understand what the driver is doing and recognize the most risky driving behaviors. So when we talk about the AI side of things, it takes it a step further. So not only are we detecting these behaviors, but we're also responding in real time. So for example, our dash cameras will trigger in-cab alerts when the AI identifies risky behavior. So the machine vision and then the AI come together to do the real-time alerting and be able to change the behavior or give the driver a chance to correct that behavior and prevent the accident from occurring altogether. So in short, machine learning is about seeing what happens, and then AI is about interpreting that data and acting on it so it improves safety and compliance. We're on the next slide now. Let's see. Yep. All right. So let's talk about our mission. So this is the Motive Transforming the Physical Economy with Motive. So we'll talk a little bit about Motive. Tim will talk about the My Ground Force AI side of things, but let's talk about Motive side right now. Our mission is simple. We empower the people who run physical operations with tools to make their work safer, more productive, and more profitable. And it isn't just about preventing accidents. It's all about how transforming fleets operate by fostering a culture of safety as well as a culture of knowledge. And that's where the integration comes in with My Ground Force here, is being able to have a holistic picture on not just fostering a culture of safety, but also a culture of knowledge. With 72% of our fleets using our dash cameras to be exonerated from false claims, businesses are not only protecting drivers, but also significantly reducing their legal and insurance risks. So in fact, 57% of reduction in accidents is what we've seen with our customers. It's going to directly relate into that lower insurance costs and fewer maintenance issues, helping the fleets run more efficiency and protecting the bottom line, as well as making sure that they get home in time. And then I think what we'll do is move on to the Tim's next for innovation solutions with My Ground Force. We can talk a little bit about the AI that you bring to the table here as well.
Yeah, thanks, Christina. I mean, that was a really good explanation of machine vision and artificial intelligence, what that means and how it's affecting contractors. And just know that it's going to continue to improve. You know, the AI that we've experienced so far in drive cameras has been pretty revolutionary in terms of technology, but it's been a bit of a challenge for us in the contracting world, and it's improving all the time. I think what we're going to see with this latest iteration is a tremendous opportunity for us to focus on less on the technology and how to manage it and more on what to do with the results that we are getting. And in My Ground Force world, you know, we've partnered up with Motive. We are fully integrated with Motive on the drive cam side and on the ELD side. We know Motive just was recently announced as a future ELD provider in the FedEx ecosystem starting in March. Well, we're already integrated with Motive in the non-FedEx world, and we have customers using Motive ELDs in the non-FedEx world. So we're excited in the future whenever we are able to work with Motive with FedEx contractors. But we're already working with them on the Vetter side. As you know, we have a very advanced hyper automation in the FedEx space for contractors using the My Ground Force solution. Essentially, what you can do is run your whole company with no people. You need somebody to drive trucks and talk to drivers in FedEx. We can handle everything else. What our hyper automation can't do, we leverage with our internal technology adept humans, we call it. We have a completely FedEx compliant safety program, along with all 35 compliance requirements that you have in the contract. We can automate those for you with a combination of our AI software, along with technology adept humans in those particular decision points where it might be required. So most of you are aware of my ground force. We can pretty much run your whole company, and we're getting better all the time in terms of what we can do. We've done 80 releases now in less than 3 years. So the software gets better every 2 weeks. We have a huge development team focused on making your life easier and more profitable at FedEx. And we're very excited about our relationship with Motive, and we're just getting started. The amount of information that's available from Motive is almost overwhelming. I mean, it's a huge amount of decision information there that can help you be better. And we're working with them to sort that out and package it in a way to help you focus on improving the profitability results in your company. So thanks again, Christina, for that segue. And I'm going to turn the floor back over to you.
All right. So for this one, I'd love to kind of talk about the combination of Motive and my ground force. It's going to create a solution that's more than a sum of its parts. So with Motive, you're going to get the most accurate AI dash cam on the market, that real-time alerting to be able to change the behavior for protecting your drivers, reducing those accidents. And then, of course, the ELD coming in with the compliance side of things for compliance management. And then my ground force, they're powerful software, as you know, you're able to run your entire operations from that area, but also having that real-time information from a fleet management perspective from safety and compliance is really going to allow you to make the smartest decisions that you possibly can. And, you know, Tim, you talk about a lot of data that comes in there. And I think that we take another prideful moment here, and I believe you do too, after, you know, working with you here, is that we take in a lot of data, but we also present it in a digestible way. Something that allows for people to really just glance at it and see a holistic picture of what's going on with their particular operations. So it's a lot of data, but we mine that data and make sure that only the actionable insights and the things that really matter to you are surfaced at the dashboard level there. So essentially, together, we're not just helping you pass your compliance standards or your safety standards, we're also making your fleet more safe and efficient and ultimately more profitable. So I really do appreciate this kind of collaboration to be able to talk about what does the combination of this power look like going forward. We can hit the next slide. So one of the biggest strengths of combining Motive with my ground force is the ability to get those real-time insights. From the data integration here, fleet managers, they can create these custom reports that help optimize your operations. You have seamlessly giving you tools that meet those safety standards, but to exceed them, right? So combining Motive with my ground force to deliver real-time insights, it's these 4 points right here, right? Preventing those accidents, those KI monitoring, which we send every month seamlessly to FedEx, so you don't have to do anything there. We also monitor them for you to make sure that you are doing what you need to be doing and that you're aware of all times of where those are. And then, of course, quick and easy install from a hardware perspective. It is a plug-and-play system. And then we are very prideful on the support that we have, you know, around 24/7 award-winning dedicated support that is there for you. Maybe you want to talk, Tim, a little bit about the promotion we have here.
Absolutely. And before I do that, though, I want to make a couple points. First thing is, you know, I should have said this earlier, and I apologize. We hear the term AI thrown around all over the daggone place. And, you know, in many times what you're hearing is not even really truly AI, but most folks' experience with AI in the real world or in their everyday lives is something like a Google search or Chat GPT. And that's not what my ground force or Motive is bringing to the table. We're bringing true artificial intelligence that is doing work for you based on a set of rules that have been established. In Motive's case, they have some industry standard rules along with some guidance from FedEx on what they're supposed to do. So They're doing work that you could do if you had the amount of time that it would take to do the kind of work that Motive had done. You can just essentially think about this AI as a driver trainer sitting there and watching this driver the whole time he's driving with every one of your drivers. So you have you sitting in the cab with your driver every second he's driving the truck and coaching him instantaneously when something happens. That is invaluable. You know, people have asked me, hey, Tim, what do you like most about being a former contractor? And I will tell you that the number one thing that I found what is that I am no longer going to sleep every night if I get a chance to go to sleep, wondering if somebody's going to wreck one of my trucks tonight. That's the biggest stressor in the FedEx fleet, in my view, because some driver has your entire livelihood in his hands. And so now with this solution, MV+AI, and the way Motive has integrated it, you have you riding with each one of your drivers. And that AIU is yelling at your driver to obey the guidelines that have been established. That's just invaluable. You're going to have instantaneous feedback on how to reduce the stress of owning one of these trucking companies and reduce the cost associated with accidents. I mean, I wish I'd have had it when I was a contractor. It would have certainly made it much nicer. And now, as far as this integration goes, we've come together. If you sign up for My Ground Force and Motive, you're going to get a discount on the software, and you're going to get free hardware from Motive. They're the only ones offering that kind of partnership out there. So not only are you going to get the best technology available in the industry, not just at FedEx, Motive has 120,000 customers. So what does that mean? I mean, we've had a lot of experience with other vendor providers that when you call them, they don't call you back. What's the number one complaint? The customer service is terrible. That won't be the case with Motive. They've scaled their customer service to support 120,000 customers. They can handle us, right? So the second thing is it's the combination of technology that we're bringing to the table is available in the non-FedEx world, right? So we're bringing excellent technology from the non-FedEx world into the FedEx world, improving this space from a profitability standpoint. And our partnership with Motive gives you the best AI solution available. And will allow you to operate your company at the lowest possible cost. This is the only lever you have to pull. You cannot earn your way out of the challenges you're facing. And as I keep saying, nobody's coming to save you. But the My Ground Force Motive partnership can help you maximize the returns on your investment by minimizing your cost. So I really appreciate the partnership that Motive has brought to the table. Free hardware is a huge deal. That's what I always look for. And then, of course, we're discounting the software 43% for those folks who sign up with Motive. So we really appreciate what we're able to bring. It's the best technology in the world for logistics, and it's available through our partnership.
Awesome. Well, yep. So I can take this one and we can kind of chat about the Motive dash camera. So the AI powered dash cameras, they're designed to reduce preventable accidents and protect your drivers. The camera monitoring is key in risky behaviors like distracted driving, speeding, in-cab alerts. In the real time, give your drivers the opportunity to self-correct. When you have this information kind of combined here, that's going to give you a holistic view on maintenance planning, for example, any kind of defects that come through, the cost efficient from a fuel maintenance side or fuel management side, right? So you get both insights from both softwares there. More on the financial side from a corporate side from My Ground Force, and more of like individual vehicle level fuel usage from your hardware from Motive. When you integrate these two things here, the data from our dash cams, they're going to feed directly into the My Ground My Ground Force platform, where it can be used to optimize those safety protocols that you would place into your business. Monitor that compliance side of things, and then ensure that your management is always having the full picture of that driver performance. Maybe Tim, you want to dive into like maybe how My Ground Force leverages this real-time data from Motive dash cameras to enhance the overall fleet performance as well?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple points here that some of you may already know. We use AI to plan your maintenance, and one of the ways that we do that is we take actual miles driven from your truck in real time, and we replan your maintenance 4 times a day based on how much you drive that truck. If suddenly you start slip seating that truck because you have a maintenance issue on a different truck and your uses of miles go up, we're automatically updating your maintenance requirements for that. We have our own maintenance work order system that's integrated with the robot maintenance planner. We have a reminder system that's constantly reminding you about upcoming requirements throughout the compliance network of things that FedEx requires from you. But in particular to maintenance, we're constantly reminding you of, hey, this truck's coming due. You might want to get a plan together. You can issue work orders to third parties, etc. And far as fuel goes, we're the only one out there giving you net fuel costs per mile. What does that mean? That means we're taking your fuel surcharge, your fuel cost, and it's your full fuel surcharge. Remember, there's a part of that fuel surcharge built into your base VMR, right? And then we're netting that out and taking it and dividing it by actual miles driven to give you net fuel costs per mile. In other words, every time a driver drives a truck, what's happening? Are pennies dropping in your pocket or somebody reaching in and pulling them out? Well, we tell that to you at the truck level. Hey, fleet average miles per gallon is irrelevant in the FedEx world. What matters is how each individual truck performs. And we're the only ones that give you that data. And we're able to do it because we're integrated with a great partner like Motive. In the future, we're going to be able to develop safety scorecards that take into account a number of different types of data that we are able to pull from Motive. Motive is giving you real-time updates on what's going on at the driver level for that ever painful vetter metric, right? We've all been through this on how hard it is to stay compliant with that vetter metric because you really don't know what's going on. Motive is giving you up-to-date information as things go along, and we're going to be able to pull that data from Motive and create safety scorecards at the driver level. It's one of the developments we have going forward as we deepen our AI integrations with our new partner Motive. And of course, again, I cannot overemphasize the fact that when you call Motive, you're going to get an answer. Obviously, when you call us, you get an answer. All of you have my phone number. It's not uncommon for me to get calls. So from a support perspective, this is the best solution in the marketplace. And we're always here to take care of you, either online through any number of online self-help resources, both in the Motive world and in the My Ground Force world, but also by phone if you need our help. What I found really, really helpful for me as I went through this is, obviously, before FedEx releases anything into the marketplace, they have different contractors trial things, right? And so Motive has a case study from this, and I'm going to let Christina tell us about this case study. I thought it was fascinating. You're on mute, ma'am.
It was just a talk in, so sorry. All right.
Yeah, we missed some really good stuff there. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, me mumbling a little bit in the beginning. Yeah, exactly. So we have a mutual FedEx TSP customer, a large one out there that experienced rise in incidents, but they didn't know that they had a rise in incidents. They thought that their safety program was doing really well. They were using a different dash cam. And it was a quiet dash cam, if you will, like as in it was a quiet safety program. And turns out that they ended up finding out a lot of through incidents and accidents that maybe perhaps their safety program wasn't actually up to snuff as they thought it was going to be. So they implemented Motive to try us out, and they saw some serious results. So talking about these results that we've seen here, from the fleet, this particular fleet using Motive, they're pretty impressive. So 33% reduction in preventable accidents, a 67% reduction in total video events. So when I say total video events, that leads into your vetter world, right? That's going to be the events that we would surface that are driver-based incidents that they caused here. and then 74% in reduction in DOT accidents. These are just a few examples of how the real-time coaching and proactive safety measures can lead to immediate improvements. And in this particular case, they were catching all sorts of things that they didn't realize that they were actually catching. So they were able to actually increase true safety program and true safety data utilizing the Motive hardware here. And additionally, from these safety gains, they translates into financial wins across the board. So $5 million in potential false claims is a real number that we were getting here from this particular fleet in this use case here. So it's not about just reducing the risk. It's about making your entire fleet more efficient, safer, and more productive and more profitable. Did you have anything to add towards our mutual customer here?
No, I just wish I'd have had this capability when I was a contractor. You know, I've talked many times about what I did to try to improve safety in my company. You know, when I've said many times, it's much harder to be a successful contractor now than it was when I started. There are many more requirements on you, and the shot group that you have to hit from a safety performance has significantly tightened, right? And so the ability to get this kind of data, we just were not able to do that from the previous versions of the vetters that we had. You know, most of the time, most contractors were just hoping that their vetter did not trigger any events, because that just then triggered internal compliance requirements. But I don't think we all completely grasp the value of truly understanding, using AI to help you truly understand the advantage of leveraging this type of data to improve your safety score, right? I mean, safety score is key. You can't grow without a high safety score anymore. But the most important thing is, hey, getting fewer vetter events does not mean that you're safer. It just means you're getting fewer vetter events. This case study proves that. So we had a big contractor that was getting fewer vetter events, doing really good on their vetter KIs, and wrecking the hell out of trucks. So which one would you rather have? Well, it's way more expensive to wreck trucks. And of course, that impacts your safety score. Hey, your vetter metrics looking great. Your safety score is terrible because you're wrecking trucks. What did they find? And this is a big contractor. This is not a little guy. What did they find? The solution from Motive helped them focus on things that they didn't know they were missing. And then I wish I'd have known that, because I had guys wreck trucks and doing things that they always hit a deer, right? Oh, I don't know. I hit a deer and ran off the road. Yeah, okay. That's the famous one. How many of you guys out there have heard that? Well, you won't hear that anymore, because Motive is telling you exactly what's going on. And it's yelling at the driver. You know, to have a driver who's dozing off and have the camera start yelling at him, how advantageous is that? I mean, 75% of the accidents that I experienced as an owner were because guys fell asleep and ran off the road. Somehow or another, I didn't have any driver get killed, but that was just pure accident, or pure fortune, I should say.
Yeah.
Hopefully now, with a driver who begins to doze, the AI can pick that up and yell at him, and maybe cause him to not run off the road, and or worse. So I mean, the advantage of this solution is hard to put into numbers, but in this particular case study, you can see it was incredibly advantageous. So if I wasn't a Motive customer when I was a contractor, this would have turned my head, and I would have started trying to figure out, how can I put that kind of technology in my trucks? Look, the safety component of this business is the most stressful part. And this is going to be a big help. I'm really excited for contractors in general to have this kind of technology available to them. And of course, as I've said, I'm very excited to be partnered with Motive in this regard. What we got for the next slide here. So let's look at the results of this last poll question. Cool. Well, look, we've had a great conversation here today. We really appreciate Christina being here. I've learned a lot. This machine vision plus AI. FedEx didn't explain it. They threw it over the wall, expected us to catch it. I think Christina's lifted the veil. So if you guys have any questions, we're available here for you to send them to us.
Absolutely.
Christina, any other comments?
I don't think so. I mean, I'd love to answer questions and continue conversations with anybody that would like to have a conversation just in general about safety and MV+AI and how that works in general. So I would love to have that conversation, and they can get a hold of me anytime they can.
Yeah, folks, send your question in. I have one for Christina. So, Christina, if I was still a contractor, obviously, all these cameras, no one is doing them month to month. Everyone is trying to strap us down into the equivalent of a cell phone contract long term. So, if I had someone else's camera, how could I get into the motive world? Is there some sort of incentive other than free hardware and a discount on my ground force? How do I handle this expensive contract that I have from one of these other vendors?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would encourage you to get a hold of us immediately if you're looking to switch over. We've got options when it comes to what your contract looks like, and it just depends the different details about your contract. But we have some options on how we can handle those and take care of them for you. You just got to give us a call.
I mean, there have guys where they have helped them transition out of their other vendor contract into a motive contract and help you defray the expense of that.
Absolutely.
If you want to get the best combined solution out there, then talk to Christina or Motive and their team. Here's the contact information, and they can help you get out of your other contract. Nobody else is offering that, by the way. That's extremely helpful, and it would have inspired me to change. Look, I was strapped down on long-term contracts. Oftentimes they'll auto renew and you didn't even know it. I got bit by that a couple of times. So the opportunity to have an exit strategy in that regard is extremely valuable.
Same goes for staggered contracts. You'll find that to be the case where it's ever revolving contract is always on at some point. Yeah, you'll find that to be the case too.
So, well, first of all, I can't believe oh, here we go. Will the side cameras send alerts to the driver?
So the side cameras, so what you're referring to is our Omni Cam. That is part of our 360-degree view offering that we have from a camera perspective. It is getting there. It is AI and capable. So we are teaching the algorithm. It's one of our newer releases of hardware is our Omni Cams. So things like unsafe lane changes, pedestrians, collisions, things like that are the algorithms that are tried and true to our dash cam. We're also employing those into our Omni Cam as well. So as we build those algorithms and teach that algorithm, we'll start releasing those out to our customers as well.
So talk to me a little bit about that implementation of the Omni Cam. So we have a drive camera that's looking forward and at the driver. Where is this Omni Cam? Is there additional hardware install, and where is it looking?
Yeah, so our Omni Cam is actually a third camera, or it's a secondary camera. I'm looking around because I thought I had it. I was going to just showcase it here. But essentially, it can be mounted on both sides of the vehicle, on the back of the vehicle. So think things in the future like backup assist, and also inside of the actual tractor itself, the trailer itself, right? So cargo monitoring, think of it like that. So this is the area, and yeah, you'll notice it says underneath there TSP support. That's our Omni Cam. So the one all the way to the right-hand side here. And that can be mounted on the side of the vehicle from an install perspective. It can be bolted on. We're working on some mirror mounts to add to this, but we're really excited about the ability to have a 360-degree view and how we can implement it with AI. There's no other camera out there that's a side camera or a backup camera that has the capability to have AI in it. So if we remember that real-time alerting, that AI for Motive is that real-time alerting, the real-time coaching, the ability to have your driver present in the moment. That's where this Omni Cam is going to go once we teach those algorithms. Good question.
3 years I guess in 2019, I started looking at retrofitting my trucks with side cameras because other than rear end collisions, the number one cause of accidents in the FedEx space is side collisions where you lane change into someone. They're in your blind spot. And but those are just cameras, or in some cases they They replace a mirror, you know, that's another one that's out there that I don't know if I really like that one. And then there was the one where it lights a light. You know, if the radar detects something on the side of the truck, a light comes on. It's kind of like you have in your car. But to actually have AI looking at what's happening and talking to the driver, oh man, that's even, I hadn't even thought about that. That's
Really excited.
extremely exciting to be able to have that capability to make these. Again, someone, no, don't change lanes right now. There's a car there. That would be amazing to have that, because that was the other cause factor I had in accidents, and my safety score would have been perfect with all this technology. So, yeah. So again, so we're going to have the ELD. So let's say in March, I've got your drive camera, and maybe I even have your Omni Cam, and now I'm going to say, all right, well, I want to use the ELD for Motive. What happens? What's the next step? Do I need to get some hardware? What's the best application, etc.?
So actually nothing. You just need to let us know and we flip a switch. So let me take a step back on why that works that way. So our dash camera is actually plug and play. It plugs into, and if you'll notice on the screen says compliance, we call that a vehicle gateway. So right now, the camera, if you have our Vetter solution, the camera is connected to the vehicle gateway, which is connected to the OBD2 or the ECM of your vehicle, right? That's how you're currently doing Vetter. That also turns into the ELD, that little black box. We would just flip a switch in your account that allows for compliance to now be something that we're tracking, right? So our dedicated services team will reach out, make sure that you're setting up the drivers the right way when it comes to the compliance side of things, you know, white glove experience all the way through with hand holding on how you change things. But essentially there's no other hardware. There won't be any type of downtime waiting for anything to come. We would flip a switch and you would be on your way with compliance.
Well, I know that last week there was some conversations around maybe what's the best way to implement when we transition to the ELD world, and there was some conversation around tablets. So I know Motive has a relationship with Samsung and et cetera, maybe you can tell us a little bit about a tablet implementation. And again, the reason I mentioned that is if I were still a contractor, I remember trying to get drivers to do things on their phone, and boy, that is a gating factor to success. Some driver still has a flip phone, or he doesn't want you to use up his minutes, or he hadn't paid his bill in 3 days, or whatever the case is. If you depend on the driver's phone as the access to a safety tech, it's probably not a good answer, at least in the FedEx world. So talk to us about this potential tablet solution and how Motive has worked on that.
Absolutely. So we are a BYOD, if you will, bring your own device type solution. So we are iOS and Android compatible, of course, your regular handheld or tablets. And so we've actually partnered, we have a partner called E Squared that we partner with. So should you need tablets or an MDM service, which is a management service for those actual tablets. So if you want to restrict your drivers from, I don't know, going onto YouTube or streaming Netflix, that's what an MDM service does for you. They would also facilitate that. We're widely available on several different tablet types. We have a very small list of, you know, not recommended tablets that you would want to utilize. That's, you know, public on our help screen. So in that sense, if you do need a tablet, we absolutely can facilitate, you know, working with you on that, making sure that you have what you need.
Awesome.
Oh, I do want to add one more thing. That little black box that I talked about, that's the vehicle gateway now for current Vetter customers, and the ELD come March. That also has built-in Wi-Fi. So if we're concerned about data, if we're concerned about utilizing data, kind of talk to us about what our Wi-Fi offering is as well to help those drivers stay connected.
Wow. Wi-Fi in the truck. Man. Well, I got some ideas that are springing to mind on how to leverage that. Wow.
Full control over it as well. So you can determine who has it, who doesn't, and how much they have.
Yeah, that's an amazing capability. This is what advanced innovative thinking means. Now, many of you might have the question, why Motive instead of OmniTrax or PeopleNet or Lytics. And let me give you a point of view from a tech guy, a guy that's also one of you, a TSP kind of guy. So think about it as almost AM and FM radio, man. Think about it as analog versus digital. You know, OmniTrax has a good solution. They meet the FMCSA requirements. I'm not down on OmniTrax in terms of their solution. But look, it is not advanced technology. I had a conversation with OmniTrax 2 weeks ago, and, you know, they said, look, all our software was written in the 90s. Everybody that wrote it or can make changes to it is not here anymore or passed away. It's all running in mainframes. And there's 47 versions. I'm like, golly, Bill, I don't know how I would be able to operate with that. It's a similar conversation goes on with some other vendors. That is not the conversation with Motive. Motive is a true SaaS solution, kind of like my Ground Force. It's running in the cloud. It's instantaneous. All the data is available all the time, and it's why they can offer the types of added services. Remember, data is not really of any value to you. What you need is data that has had some investment made into it, so it turns it into decision information. I mean, you couldn't do anything with that data, but you can do something with decision information when Motive has now analyzed that data and turned it into something you can do something with. Hey, you had 5 of these. Okay, well, that's useful information. And then you can see which drivers are doing that or how often it's occurring. One of the things I keep hearing is people are finding that their drivers are speeding a lot more than they thought they were. And you get a speeding ticket in the FedEx world, and that's a hammer on the safety score. So, and it will inspire some help that you're going to get from FedEx that you might not want. So I don't know. This is very, very exciting from the TSP world. From an investor standpoint, having the ability to reduce safety incidents is going to make your company more valuable. You know, I talk to people all the time. Hey, I'm going to sell my company. One of the things I say is, what is your safety score? If you're a tier 1, well, I know you're hitting the ejection seat. You're trying to get out of there before FedEx gives you the kick. And someone else is going to see that too. But if you come in with you got a 3-year record or 2-year record of a tier 5 safety score, your company's now worth a lot more money because people are like, wow, I'm getting a sound organization that's leveraging technology to their best capability. It's improving their profitability, and they have a great core of drivers who are trained on how to leverage the technology for increased safety. I'm telling you, it makes your company more valuable. So think about that. We talk a lot about on this webinar series of you got to change your thinking. If you think the way that you thought 3 years ago or 2 years ago, you're going to go out of business. FedEx is tightening the screws on you every single year. You have to be innovative in the way that you think. You have to be, not just because I say so. I'm telling you, FedEx is expecting that of you. And now you have some additional technology, for instance, like Motive provides and that we've always provided to help you operate and squeeze costs out of your business, to help you operate in these efficiency required days. FedEx is making the decision for you. You know how you know that? They're paying you less per unit. They've already decided how efficient you need to be. And if you don't get there, you're going to be less profitable. So the only way to remain profitable is to get better every year. So the decision you made 3 years ago on technology, you need to revisit that decision because you are liable to get a different answer now. You've heard me talk about in the decision-making webinar. Last step in decision-making is future-proof your decision. How does that decision you made look 1, 3, 5 years down the road? Okay, well, it might be time to revisit that decision matrix. You've got to leverage technology to lower your costs. It's the only way you're going to do it, and we can help. The Motive and my Ground Force team is the best in the industry, and you can take that to the bank. We're here to help any way that we can. So, Rich, I think that answered your question. Does anybody else have any questions? I think we covered them all. We still have most people in the chat. How about that? Well, Christina, again, I appreciate you being here. Do you have any closing comments you'd like to share with the folks?
If I said I didn't, then it wouldn't sound right. So I do. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate your time, having me here to share what this combination integration looks like, it's going to be great. It is truly the best in class on the ground, like I mentioned, and best in class of the numbers in the sky. So super happy about this. And thank you so much, Tim and my Ground Force, for having Motive. It's going to be a great partnership. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely, man. I'm just thrilled that Motive sent Christina our way today. I got a chance to meet her in person last week. They have an incredibly talented team. I mean, from top to bottom of the people that I've met with are very, very talented. And look, FedEx is very impressed with Motive. Okay, so if FedEx had a preference, and they will never say that they do, but if I'm reading the tea leaves, that's what I do on this podcast. Hey, Motive is very popular with FedEx because of the quality of the technology that they bring to the table. It enables some cost improvements on the FedEx side. And remember, that's what they're focused on. They're not focused on you. They're focused on them. And bringing Motive to the table will, in the future, give FedEx control of information that will allow them to lower their costs. And we really appreciate Motive being willing to co-brand and partner with My Ground Force. And we appreciate Christina coming aboard today. So let's talk about the webinar series as we continue next week. Remember, this is just number 3 in a series of 8. Remember that if you want to send to us some ideas on what we can do for a webinar that would make you that would interest you, send it in to sales@mygroundforce.com, and we will add that to the list of suggestions that have come to us. Certainly, I've got plenty of content. You could kick me out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I could give you 20 minutes on something. So I'm not short of content, but we want to run this podcast in a way that gives you what you want to hear. So we're going to reserve a spot or two at the end of the series for what viewers want to hear us talk about. But next week, we're going to talk about tires. Okay, I don't know about you. I knew something about airplane tires when I got in this business, but I didn't know anything about real tires, tractor tires. So we got Kelly Shore from the National Sales VP from Southern Tire Mart coming on board next week. He's going to talk about the science of tires. We're not going to have a conversation on why you should buy tires from Southern Tire Mart. Look, they make tires and they sell all kinds of tires. They're the tire partner for FedEx, by the way. But what we're going to focus on is what about tires? What do you need to know about tires? That's what we're trying to do in this series, is teach you things that you don't really know. Okay, so we're going to teach you about tires. What about recaps? How do you run recaps? How do you maximize the value if you decide to run recaps on your drive tires? What are your cost options in order to minimize your costs? Are there some discounts that you get by leveraging Southern Tire Mart to your advantage? Why would you want to use Southern Tire Mart? If you recall, they bought Pilot Flying J Maintenance. So Warren Buffett bought Pilot Flying J Truck Centers and spun off the maintenance, and Southern Tire Mart bought it. So now they're nationwide. Not only do they have tire locations nationwide, but they have service locations nationwide. And I think we're going to give away a free service coupon next week. So come on board, and we're going to have some giveaways for folks next week from Southern Tire Mart. But the most important thing we're going to do is we're going to learn about tires and then how to buy them most cost effectively in your business. The week after that, we're going to have PSI International on board. Well, how to maintain your tires, how to maximize the tire life of your tires. PSI International is the #1 company in the world for tire inflation. They are the partner with FedEx all across the country. Every FedEx trader you pull, that ATI system has a PSI system on board. So we're going to talk about tires, and then we're going to talk about some other things in the future. You've seen the webinar series, but that's the next 2 coming up. We're going to focus on tires and how to leverage tire systems and tire purchasing to improve your profitability. Remember, tires is your #4 largest expense. So let's hammer that knob next week on the Pareto principle. That's what we do here. And we're going to continue to help you lower your costs so you can improve your ROI. Again, we thank everybody for being here. One more time, thank you to Christina for participating. And we look forward to seeing everyone back next week at 2 o'clock Eastern time. And of course, this podcast will be posted tomorrow on our My Ground Force YouTube channel, and it's available in posterity there. So we look forward to talking to you guys again next week. Until that time, take care and be blessed.